Welcome back to 10 Tales from the Script, Episode 4. Today's script, Writing 101 with W. Shakespeare, is a skit derived from one of my favorite poems I've ever written, titled Seuss Takes Shakespeare's Masterclass. This piece was written by myself and my rhythmically advantaged friend and great writer, Aidan Gadu, who will also be playing Shakespeare while I play Seuss. In the original poem, Shakespeare spoke only in his iambic pentameter, and Seuss in his anapestic tetrameter, with a classical, simple rhyme scheme. You know, it was one of those funny ha-ha poems. Anyway, we will try to capture that magic here. I'm Andrew Ledger, and I'll be your narrator who, from this moment on, will speak only in rhyme and limerick. Sorry. If you've ever wondered where the greats go after they've finished their writings and prose, then wonder no longer, though the truth isn't cool, for each one attends a heavenly school. At the University of World-Famous Authors, there's just one subject that's ever been offered. The major is writing. There is no school finer. They also have songwriting, if you'd like a minor. But even in heaven, there's two star-crossed stars, who banter and bicker on lyrics and bars. Yes, up in those highlands, where these scholars argue, is where our story is set to ensue. It was 4:22 when Seuss strolled in to Writing 101. He sat smack dab in the center seat and thought, "Ooh, this should be fun." He was there to sit in on a lecture or two, given by one of the greats. He wanted to hear from old Shakespeare, but suddenly heard, "You're late!" From the lecture hall door burst the frenzied form of Professor William S. He carried not one, but 3 large stacks of graded and presumably failed tests.
You're late if you think you can find success by trying to create a brand new form. This form, I teach, is like a game of chess, and any alteration breaks the norm.
The declaration hung in the air, and every student was silent, scared, afraid to test, to poke the bear. But lo, behold, a hand in the air? The professor glanced, then looked away, then glanced again in a double take. Not one pupil in any session had dared to ask the bard a question.
Yes, Mr.
Seuss, and that's doctor to you. With all due respect and adieu, I think there is virtue in finding what words do when you say adieu to the rules, don't you?
No,
said Shakespeare.
I find that way of thinking most absurd. Everyone knows to find that perfect word, the one which fits its placement like a kiss, produces only evanescent bliss. For an example, look no further than my crucial sonnet number 23. I speak on power when words are written, so listen, son, and then maybe you'll see. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence and dumb of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense, more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
Allow me to retort, Seuss snorted.
If you must. But thou could not blow me away, I trust, even if thou became the greatest gust.
In the land of Kazoo there lived the Tagoo, who hated the new and all it could do. They never looked forwards, but always behind, always walked backwards, a distinctive kind. They never adventured or walked very far. They hated the wacky, weird, and bizarre. What happened one day, to tell you the tale, their happiness faltered and began to fail. Their flumpuses bored them, the Tagoo would snore. Their bow jumps bim-jangled, it was all a bore. Nothing excited, and all was the same. When nothing is new, it all seems quite lame. Until Tim Jack the hero, with a heart that was brave, brought forth something novel, a new gift to be gave. He made it himself with parts never seen, a fantastic magic word-making machine. The Tagoo were elated, their hearts leapt with joy. This thing was so funny, a shiny, bright toy. Kaloo was changing, this Tim Jack could tell. Tagoo still walked backwards, but not very well. Their rhythm was halted, they stumbled and fell, the old ways were changing. He bid them farewell. The Tagoo were confused, and what could it mean? When walking backward, the future's unseen. Tim Jack could tell them. He knew what to do. They had to abandon their old backwards views. Turn around, he said, with a voice oh so loud. The future is waiting. Turn around, be proud. The Tagoo felt scared. Backwards was easy. What if when forwards they felt very queasy? They saw what was safe, they knew what to do. Old things weren't scary, the new was too new! Tim Jack knew too well that it had been he that showed them that new things weren't so scary. He leapt from a mountain and gave a great cry. This is the best way, I know, and here's why. I'll walk forwards, name all that I see, using this machine I call creativity. That river looks wet, it's called Wibbywomp. This fat fuzzy pet, it's a gill glimble glop. I'm having a blast, naming new kinds of things. The fun is just making, and the pride that it brings. The Tagoo looked on, with initial confusion, then carried on a word salad fusion. Toast Pats and Road Rats were named on that day. Everyone made a new word and cried out, hooray! The Tagoo now looked forward with a different kind of view, and learned to create the best thing they could do. When they saw something new, they just used their mind, made a few sounds, broke it up, and combined, repeated it loud till they liked what they heard, and spoke bold and proud. Just the right word. Shakespeare was stunned.
I've never heard such absurd words as those. You tell a tale with fabricated prose, yet all nonsense in meaning and in rhyme. This asinine troll isn't worth my time.
Well,
Oh, and another thing, you silly twit. I've never met a man with duller wit. Thy cats and bats and fish of colors too could not compare to Lear or Montague. I've written plays which stand the test of time. They teach my meter, measure written rhyme. I say there's none to learn from gibberish. So leave my class. This lesson is finished.
Then there was an echo. Like thunder it roared. He picked up his pencils and erased the board. The class exited fast, the first row to the last, till all that was left was Seuss, still steadfast. Now make no mistake, Shakespeare had gone. So Seuss strolled on up, though he knew it was wrong. No, it was right, it had to be done. And yet again he thought, oh, this should be fun. The next morning came, and Shakespeare walked in. Only something was different. He could sense a grin. But lo, every student, the once frightened few, wore smiles for miles, a most motley crew. For written all over the whiteboards in marker were plentiful paragraphs from an unknown author. Yes, you could say the tone was facetious, but there'd never been a more ferocious thesis.
The greatest writers formed foundations, based on practical applications, stuck to them with rigid pride, but focused most on just their mind. I posit authors should be merry, find the fun in what they're saying. Not all things need to fit in, like a 16-fingered mitten. I know you agree, even though you don't see. To a certain degree, you're just like me. I've read your sonnets, your poems and plays, and I've discovered all sorts of ways that you broke the mold and bent some rules, invented new words, and made old ones your tools. When you call broken rules ugly and obscene, you're not being a critic, you're just being mean. That outlook is gloomy when you don't see the appeal of things fantastic and zany, or just plain unreal. I've said what I've needed. If you've read my whole rant, just remember you can when you think that you can't.
Maybe Shakespeare's collar was a little too tight. Maybe Seuss's head wasn't screwed on just right. Maybe neither was right. That's how it appeared. So let's wonder, to be or not to be weird.